What's up, everybody? Kyle here at Let's Talk Wax with a new series that I'm going to start doing called Monthly Market Update. And this is based off of my price tracker over on Patreon, where I track the prices of about 125 different prospects value up and down each month. We've made it to our second month. So I'm going to give you the top 5 prospects with the highest price increase, the top 5 prospects with the greatest price decrease, my top 5 dip buys this month, and whether the market is up or down right now. Stay tuned. Now, before we get started, if you guys are into Bowman Chrome baseball cards, please head over to my Patreon page and check out my exclusive content. I've got Bowman Chrome autograph checklist breakdowns from 2019 all the way to the present, top 100 Bowman Chrome autos list, and a top 100 Bowman Chrome autos under $50 list. I also offer early access to all my video info, the monthly price tracker that we're going to talk about today with 125 plus autos, and a private Discord server with over 150 members. If you guys want to help support the channel, I'll put a link in the description over my Patreon. And you can also check out my free giveaways at Let's Talk Wax on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm currently giving away a BRG 9 Jordan Lawler courtesy of BRG Grading. If you guys want to sub some cards through them, I'll put a link in the description as well. Okay, so we're going to kick this video off with the top 5 biggest decreases among Bowman Chrome autos from September to October. And with a lot of my videos, you're going to see some red text and some blue text. That indicates numbers that are high and low. So any red text you see is going to indicate excellent numbers, and any blue text you see is going to indicate some bad numbers. I also am providing a Let's Talk Wax rank for all the players that you're going to find on this breakdown, and my ranks go from elite to bad. So elite is the best, 1 is really good, 2 is good, and so on, goes down to 6 at bad. But we're going to start this thing off with Matt Mclean. Matt Mclean was white hot to start the 2022 season, but digressed significantly over the course of the season. He posted great power numbers. He hit 17 home runs and 21 doubles while stealing 27 bases in his first full season in Double-A. Now, I'm kind of worried about the K numbers and average here. He's really got his work cut out for him in the middle infield also, with Marte and De La Cruz lurking in the shadows. And I'm surprised the Reds aren't going to shift him to like a center field position maybe, but it could be something that they do in 2023. So he could get shifted to, he's an athletic enough guy to play center field, but I'm not sure the Reds are going to make that move quite yet. Now, Matt Mclean's autos are down 52% right now to $35, and you can find his autos in 2022 Bowman. At number 4 with a 54% decrease all the way down to $5 is Gabriel Rodriguez. Now, he's one of my favorite sleepers at the moment, and he's had a solid year in 2022, playing right around league average in high A. He hit a career 9 homers, and he posted a career high batting average of .272, and his K numbers are great. Based on his performance in high A, I would bet that he starts the 2023 season in Double-A, and he's still going to be pretty young for level. Now, there's 2 things I don't like about Gabriel Rodriguez. It's the ground ball to fly ball rate, and other players like Brian Rocchio and Angel Martinez being ahead of him in the Guardians system. So I give Gabriel Rodriguez a Let's Talk Wax rank of 2.5. His autos are currently selling for $5, and he's out of 2021 Bowman Chrome. At number 3 with a 57% drop-off is Warming Bernabel. Now, Bernabel is a guy that I would have put on my top 5 dip buys, but he's already on the top 5 biggest decreases for the month, so I didn't want to double up on Bernabel, but he's a really, really cheap buy at $18 right now. He was promoted to high A the back quarter of 2022, and he put up some really good numbers in A-ball. He was kind of old for A-ball, but he hit .317 with 10 homers and 19 doubles and a sub 15 K percentage, which is really, really good. He was promoted to high A where he was more age appropriate, but he continued to put up solid numbers, and the only major change was his walk rate and stolen bases, because stolen bases are kind of gimmies in A-ball. Now, I don't think there's game-changing speed here, because like I said, I could probably steal 20 bags at 38 years old in low A, but he's got a significant hit tool and the ability to grow into some power as he develops physically. I really like Bernabel. He's a big bat that has a career high K percentage of 15.6, so he really doesn't strike out. But I'm not very fond of the organization. The Colorado Rockies have been known for kind of struggling to develop players. They've got some really good guys, you know, like Zach Veen, Benny Montgomery, Warming Bernabel, and Hunter Goodman right now. in the top of their system. So hopefully they can start to produce some better players in the organization. Now you can find, like I said, Warren Bernabel autos for $18 out of 2022 Bowman, and he is an incredibly cheap buy for the numbers that he put up in 2022. Now another one of my favorite sleeper buys right now is Luis Mies, and his autos are all the way down to $6. So there is very low risk in buying into Mies right now. He's had back-to-back 15 home run seasons in 2021 and 2022, which is really excellent considering his previous ISOs never reached anything higher than 118. So he's starting to grow into some power. He was promoted to Double-A as part of the Project Birmingham, and he got in a bit of trouble as far as K-to-walk ratio goes because he's an aggressive hitter, but he hit near 300 in his first taste of Double-A. I think the big question with Mies is how much power he can grow into in 2023, because that's going to be the major factor determining whether or not the hobby kind of catches on to him. So I'd expect Mies and Brian Ramos to be some of the young guys at the big league camp in 2023. And we all know what happens if a young prospect has a good showing, even hits one home run in spring training, prices can go through the roof. So Mies is a pretty solid bat for $6. I don't see superstar here. He's got a 2.5 Let's Talk Wax rank. And I forgot to put the 2021 Bowman Chrome on the release on this slide. But like I said, he's a really good sleeper buy for me right now. And the top drop for September to October was Dustin Harris. He dropped 68% down to $26. He's out of 2022 Bowman. He's always been more hit over power, but he ran into some ISO last year and this year. He's hit 17 home runs and 16 doubles in 2022, and he's put up really good K numbers. Now his batting average kind of trended down in Double-A as the season progressed, but his power output stayed excellent. And it's really surprising because I've always assumed Harris to be more of a hit over power bat, but he's kind of showing the opposite now. Another good thing about Harris is he's been moved to left field. I think I've mentioned this in several of my other videos, and that's going to create an easier path to him in the big leagues instead of being kind of locked in at first base. Now, I don't know how much his speed's going to play at the big league level. He had 19 stolen bases throughout the course of the 2022 season, but like I said, I'm not sure how much that speed's going to pan out down the road. Harris is another 2.5 on the Let's Talk Wax ranking, and he's a pretty cheap buy-in at $26. And that's going to wrap up the top 5 decreases from September to October. All right, next we're going to dig into the top 5 increases. We've got the 5 guys that had the highest growth rate in price from September to October. And in the number 5 spot, we had Jordan Westberg. Now, Westberg had a great year in 2021 between A-ball and Double-A. But due to his age, I kind of wanted to see a larger sample size of what he could do in the upper minors, and I got that wish granted this year. Between Double-A and Triple-A, Westberg hit 26 home runs while hitting for enough average to kind of keep him out of that slugger category that I really don't like. He's been moving all over the infield the past 2 years, so he's got a great deal of experience playing everywhere, second base, third base, shortstop, and that's going to kind of, like I said, with Harris, open up an easier path for his bat to get to the big league level. After his promotion to AAA, he played 38 games at shortstop and 18 at third base. So with Gunnar Henderson in front of him at third base, he'll most likely be in the mix for a shortstop second base role. But there's Connor Norby right behind him, and they're all kind of competing, those young guys in the Baltimore system, for those infield positions. So Westberg's another guy, though, who I think could attend big league camp, and he could possibly break the 2023 season with the big league club just due to his age and the fact that he's got all the experience he had in 2022 in the upper minors. So Westberg is a 2 on the Let's Talk Wax rank, and his autos are around $105 right now out of 20 draft. He does not have any base autos, so he's SP, which is going to drive his price up a little bit. The lowest numbered card he has is Refractor and up, so he's got no base autos, so keep that in mind when you're looking for Jordan Westberg. At number 4, we have Noelvi Marte, who was traded to the Cincinnati Reds, 20.9 years old in High A this year with Cincinnati. I really think Marte would have been promoted to Double-A this year, but Elly De La Cruz was up there getting all the reps at shortstop. And it's kind of like James Wood and Robert Hassell in the Washington Nationals organization. They're two bats that are ready for the highest level, but they both need reps in a premium position. So James Wood and Robert Hassell can't both play center field in Double A or High A. So it's kind of what's going on here, I think, with Marte and De La Cruz. I think that any other organization, Marte would have been in Double A this year playing shortstop, but he's got one of the hottest prospects in minor league baseball right now that needs reps at shortstop as well. So I'm interested to see how that situation develops, which one gets moved to second base, third base down the road, but that'll all sort itself out later. Marte had a really bad start in the 2022 season, but he really dominated in the back half, almost reaching 2020 status as a 20-year-old in High A, 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. Marte's elite K numbers are going to allow him to maximize his physical power and keep his average pretty steady in the upper 200s. I think he'll make the jump to Double A in 2023, and he'll only be 21 years old, so very young for the level, and I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table. He's up 66%. His autos are selling for around $113 right now. He's a 1.5 on the Let's Talk Wax rank, and you can find his first Chrome autos in 2019 Bowman Chrome. Our third highest riser is Thomas Saggese, another sleeper guy that I've talked about quite a bit on the channel. His autos are up to $23, and now you're going to see the next three guys, their autos aren't very expensive, but if you're talking buying gold, low number autos, a 91% increase is significant compared to a base auto where it's only going to be a couple of dollars. So keep that in mind in this series. But Saggese and Colt Keith, they're two guys that I've liked for a really long time, and it's kind of getting to the point where I can't consider Colt Keith a sleeper anymore, and I think it's going to happen with Saggese in 2023. They both put up excellent numbers the last 2 years, and I think people are starting to catch on. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be sleepers for long. Now, Saggese hits for power and average, but he had some elevated K to walk ratios that may show he's a bit too aggressive at the plate. But he did get promoted to Double A, and in a small sample size, he absolutely crushed. And I think that's where he'll start the 2023 season. Now, the Rangers system is really stacked in the middle infield, but Saggese has played almost everywhere but first base. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Rangers kind of do with their logjam. With Foscue, they've got Luis Angel, they've got Saggese, and a handful of other guys that are all standout players, this year and last year in the Texas Rangers organization. So that'll be something to watch in 2023. Now, Saggese is ranked a 2 on the Let's Talk Wax rank. His autos, like I said, are $23 right now, so it's still a pretty cheap and low-risk buy-in. You can find them in 2020 Bowman Draft, which is going to turn out to, I think, be one of the biggest releases in the last couple of years. Our number 2 highest riser is Rhys Hines. His autos are up to $13, a 160% increase out of 2019 draft. Now, I was very optimistic about Hines after his knee injury a couple years ago, and I didn't anticipate him putting up consistently awful K numbers, and that's really what he's done. I'm talking like Robert Puason ugly K numbers. Now, he was surprisingly promoted to Double A, which was a huge shock to me, and that was in the last month or two of the season, and he actually started making contact and producing quite a bit, which was another huge shock, and I think that's why we're seeing the 160% increase in his autos over the last month. So he's only 22, but I'm really big on K numbers, and I cannot even think of one above average major leaguer that held near 40% K rates in minor league baseball offhand. So if you guys know of any above average major leaguer that struck out as much as Hines, let me know and put him in the comments so I can check it out. But he looks like a sell at this point, but he's the type of guy that the Reds are really high on putting aggressive assignments on his back. He could be a guy that attends 2023 spring training because he's playing in the outfield now as well, and he could hit a home run. He's got that type of power, so you never know with Rhys Hines, and it's really a bad time to sell right now anyway because the market's going to continue to trend down, and we're going to talk about that later as well. Now, the number 1 biggest riser with a 220% rise from September to October is Blaise Alexander. Now, Blaise Alexander gets kind of caught in Jordan Lawler's shadow. He's a really good player. He's put up kind of average numbers in his career, but in 2022, he had a really good season. He hit 300 with a 200 plus ISO, played majority of games at shortstop, and I would really like to see his ground ball to fly ball rates decrease, so maybe he could put up some more power. So with Blaise Alexander, I'm almost 99% sure with a lot of these guys that he's going to be at big league spring training, and if he performs anything like he did in the 2022 season, we could see his value go up even more, because Geraldo Perdomo, it just has shown that he's not going to hit at the big league level. He's been near the Mendoza line for the majority of his career since he got called up, and he's just a glove-first player. And they've got guys like Lawler, they've got guys like Blaise Alexander that bring a little bit of bat with the defensive package as well. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. If you bought into him when his autos were $5, that's a pretty good buy, because they're kind of market appropriate now, and they're going to maybe continue to trend up at $16. But you can find them in 2019 Bowman draft. All right, that's going to bring us to the fun section of this video, and the one that I like the most are dip buys. Now, with dip buys, I do a lot of content on sleeper prospects and undervalued players. And these guys are somewhat undervalued right now, but it's more along the lines of also guys that have the capability to become possible superstars down the road, mixed in with guys who are too cheap for their production level. So we've got two different types of dip buy evaluations going on here with the prospects. So keep that in mind. At number 5, we've got Elvis Martinez, who's down 44% from September. His autos are selling at $56 right now, which is really, really cheap. His carrying tool is clearly his power, and allowed him to hit nearly 60 home runs over the past 2 seasons. So the power is there. Now, Martinez has faced aggressive assignments throughout his career, especially in 2022. He played the entire season at the age of 20 in Double-A. You know, a lot of these guys were called up to Double-A late in the year, and 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds getting to play the back half of the season Double-A. Martinez did it as a 20-year-old the entire year. So I put a little leniency on his numbers. He kept his power output elite, even though he only hit 200, and he had a 3.5 K to walk ratio and a 28.5 K percentage. His power stayed. He was able to lower his K numbers a bit in the last third of the season, which shows he may have started to adjusting to Double-A, but I'm really interested in Martinez in 2023. He has that whole year of Double-A under his belt. He's only going to be 21 to start the 2023 season, and he's got some of the most elite raw power in minor league baseball. Imagine if he would have played in high A. He may have hit 35, 36 home runs, but he hit 30 as a 20-year-old. So he's kind of trending towards slugger, so he's kind of a risky buy, but I'm going to give him another year to kind of see what happens, whether he trends towards slugger, whether he can improve his K numbers and average with another year of Double-A under his belt. My number 4 dip buy on this list is Zach Veen. His autos are down 32%, and they're right around the $100 mark out of 20 draft. His Let's Talk Wax rank is a 1.5, and Veen was also one of the youngest players in Double-A this year, and much like Hassell, he did not perform exceptionally well. I covered this with Martinez. These are like the Veen and Hassell. They were guys that did not spend the whole season in Double-A. But Veen showed off more power in 2021 than he did in 2022. And his batting average took a small hit with level increase as well. Now, he's a straight burner. The guy can run. He has game-changing speed on the bases, but he's shown fringe power in 2022. And still being 20, he could grow into a lot more. So Veen could really be a guy that has a hit tool, power tool, steals bases, plays a premium position center field. He could really be, a 5-tool type of player as he develops. It's just a matter of how he develops. And it's in the Rockies system, so he's got a smaller chance, I feel like, than most prospects to maximize his physical capabilities. But he's definitely a guy to watch. And he could be a guy that attends big league camp just because the experience he got at the end of the year. But he is a good dip buy right now, because if he does go to big league spring training, his numbers will probably shoot up. His prices will probably shoot up quite a bit. All right, at number 3, we have Robert Hassell, dropped 46%. Now, I was only able to find one comp in October for a Robert Hassell first chrome auto. Now, he's got some autos in 2021, but they're not first. and it was an auction comp at $82. So that's a really, really cheap buy-in. But be aware that it was the only comp that I could find in October. So if you guys are going out there and looking for Hassell, just maybe check up on the comps after this video to see if another one pops, because I only had one comp to work with, but it was a 46% decrease, and it's kind of in line with other guys that are like him. You know, Zach Veen had a 32% increase or decrease, so it's kind of in the range of a profile player like Hassell. I feel like Hassell and PCA, like Pete Crow Armstrong, could have been on this list. They're very similar players that have kind of branched out in 2022. Hassell started to look like a plus athlete who's showing a bit more hit than power. And, you know, a guy I've always compared to Pete Crow Armstrong is kind of showing the opposite. He's kind of growing into more power and less hit than Hassell. So he's a plus athlete, and he's held close to 300 batting average at every level he was age appropriate, and he's always held elite K numbers. Now, he stumbled a bit in AA, as I mentioned before, but it really doesn't concern me because some prospects just have a longer phase to adjust to one of the toughest levels in minor league baseball. Now, my only concern with Hassell is the ground ball to fly ball rate he posted in high A and AA. I'd like to see that get below 1, and that can help his ISO grow if he could get the ball in the air more. Hopefully he can get his ISO right around the 190 to 200 mark in 2023, and I think that's really going to boost his name up in the hobby community. I'm interested to see where he starts the year next year, if he attends big league camp or not. So you can find his autos for $82 out of 2020 draft, and he's a 1.5 as well. At number 2, we have Angel Martinez, and this is a guy that I've been just talking about. I feel like I'm just regurgitating numbers about Angel Martinez over and over on the channel, but his autos are down to $25. Much like Brian Rocchio, I think his autos are down to $25, and these are two really big productive players in the Guardian system that are not really, in my opinion, priced accordingly. I've had my eye on Martinez since 2021 Bowman released, and he was one of my main chases out of there. At one point in the year, his autos were down to like $15, and he had a really solid showing in AA. They peaked back up to about 45, and now they're kind of heading back down. I'm not sure whether it's because I talked about him so much on the channel or not, but his prices have settled back down into the $25 mark. But Martinez does everything very well, and like I mentioned before, he reminds me a lot of Brian Rocchio, another guy in the Guardian system who's a level higher, a shortstop, and he's continuing to grow into power. His ISO continues to increase with his age, but the thing about Martinez is he's playing a lot more second base as he moves up the ranks. So it may look like he's going to be a second base look and maybe moving him off of shortstop. But if his ISO continues to grow and the hit tool continues to play and the K numbers continue to stay low, he could profile, the bat could really profile at second base, where it's got to be a little more productive than at shortstop. But Angel Martinez is a 1.5 for me, and he's probably one of the lowest priced 1.5s on my Bowman Chrome autograph checklist breakdowns. You can find all that stuff over on Patreon if you guys want to check it out. Do it for every release. But his first pro models out are 2021 Bowman, and they're down 40%. So he's a guy to check out for sure. All right, it's going to bring us to our number 1 dip buy, Jordan Lawler. Anytime his prices go down, it's a good time to buy. He's the only player on this video today that ranks in the elite category. I think I've only got one other 2021 draft guy ranked as elite in that breakdown. It's going to be Kyle Manzardo. But Jordan Lawler is just really good. And there's two things that I want to mention before we dig into the numbers a little bit. He climbed 3 levels all the way to AA in 2022 after only 6 professional plate appearances in his career. So he got injured his rookie year, had 6 plate appearances, and played all the way to AA in the second season. Number 2, he was 19 years old when he made his AA debut. So if we look at the numbers, he posted an A in high A where he was age appropriate. He absolutely destroyed A-ball in high A where he was age appropriate. Okay, so where he hit a bit of a wall was in AA. And as I mentioned before, he's still 19 years old. His K numbers and ground ball to fly ball rate increased a bit, and we saw a little dip in his batting average and ISO, but it was over only a 100 plate appearance sample size. and that doesn't warrant much time for adjustment. So I'm really excited to see what Lawler can do in 2023. And I mentioned him before with Blaise Alexander that he could be a guy that makes his big league debut in 2023. Maybe in the back half, he's in a system that's just loaded with studs. Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, Jordan Lawler, some of the guys that are in the upper minors with the Diamondbacks right now, Blaise Alexander. But depending on what he can do in spring training, and I'm thinking he's going to start the season in Double-A for sure, and he's going to already have that experience, kind of like Elvis Martinez, being very young. And the way he handled age-appropriate levels so far in 2022 was extraordinary. So he still won't be age-appropriate at 20 years old in Double-A in 2023. But I think the experience is really going to help him out. So he could really explode in 2023 and could get, he could get a 2023 call-up at some point. Now, you can find Lawler autos for $158 right now, and they're coming out of 2021 draft. All right, so that's going to bring us to our wrap-up and how I gauge these prices as a whole in September. The 125 autos that I tracked totaled $9,568 in sales, and those same autos gauged or tracked $8,315 in sales in October. And that brings us to a 13% dip from September to October, which is completely normal in the hobby. We are entering the dead season. The best time to buy flat out and period is going to be in the next 3 months. Everybody's chasing football. Everybody's getting ready for basketball season. I'm getting less views on my YouTube channel because it's baseball only. Everything's just kind of trending away from baseball, and it's a hobby pattern that happens every year. And it's going to be the next 3 months that you guys are going to find some really big dips. So with a 13% decrease from September to October, with baseball kind of still going on at the major league level, I'm really interested to see how big of a dip we have from October to November. And November and December are really probably my two favorite times to buy, but I don't buy anymore. I just invested in sealed wax now, so it's a great time to buy. The next 3 months is going to be a lot of fun. Now, as I mentioned before, if you guys enjoy my content, please support the channel over on Patreon. Over there, I give you a lot of exclusive content as well. I've got the checklist breakdowns, the 2 top 100 lists of chrome autos and chrome autos under $50. You get early access to all my video info. I've got a monthly price tracker that we've obviously talked about in this video, and the private Discord server with over 150 members. I've also recently launched a new website at www.letstalkwax.com. I've been writing some articles over there, and I do team break guides and things like that, and I post all the videos. So there's some exclusive premium content. It's all the same stuff you can find on Patreon, but you can sign up over there for premium, or you can just go over and check out the articles and some of the fun information that I have over there as well. I want to give a quick shout out to all my level 3 patrons: Tom Barta, Max, Brad, Gary D. Childers Jr., Just Dinger's Breaks, 909 Sportscards, Kenny Winkles, Larry Canterbury, Max Anthony, Jason Hall, Lenny Levine, and Bruce Wiley. I also want to give a huge shout out to everyone who supports me on the channel and on Patreon. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to catch you guys later on the next video.